The shocking truth behind the Sudbrink phone calls at 3 a.m. never told before. When the clock struck 3, a low, eerie hum echoed through the quiet town of Sudbrink. It was the hour when shadows crept in and whispered secrets hung thick in the air. Something unsettling stirred an unexplainable energy that swept through every home, every street, like a feverish wind. People were jolted from their sleep by mysterious phone calls, the kind that twisted their stomachs and left them breathless with fear. The sounds on the line, a static hiss, a breath that felt too close, a voice calling out their name, were just the beginning of the nightmare that would grip Sudbrink tightly. That very night, Mary Jenkins, an ordinary schoolteacher, found herself staring at her ringing phone, heart pounding so loud in her ears it drowned out the world. Her fingers hovered over the screen, she felt an electric pull, a shiver of dread curling her spine. Who would call at such an hour? Ignoring her instincts, she answered. The voice on the other end was garbled yet familiar. "You need to listen, they're coming." The call ended with a harsh crackle, like something breaking apart, words spread fast, whispers curling around corners like smoke. People shared their stories, eyes wide with terror. The bakery worker claimed she'd seen shadows flicker in her window, dancing just out of reach. The librarian swore the books had rearranged themselves, spelling out a warning run. No one was safe. Each report fed the collective fear, twisted the small town into a knot of anxiety. You could almost taste the tension in the air, a bitter tang that lingered like old iron. The rest of the night unfolded in a haze of uncertainty. Families huddled together, eyes on their phones, hesitant to sleep. Then, just as dawn's light began to creep orange across the sky, another call shattered the silence, a fresh wave of panic crashing down on Sudbrink. This time, instead of a voice, a blood-curdling scream tore through the line. The whole town froze. What did it mean? Who was it? And more importantly, who would be next? Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. As the sun rose over Sudbrink, everything felt weighed down. The lively chatter of morning routines was replaced by whispers and sideways glances. Voices trembled as the townsfolk wondered together, was this a joke? A prank? Or something far darker? The fear hung like a fog, thickening with every passing minute. Little did they know, the truth was waiting just around the corner, ready to reveal itself if only they were brave enough to seek it out. But who among them would take that first step into the unknown? The next day, Mary walked through the dimly lit hallways of Sudbrink High School, her mind a whirlpool of dread. Students filled the classrooms, but their laughter sounded far away, as if muffled by a thick carpet of anxiety. Her colleague, Mr. Thompson, caught her eye, his own expression mirroring the tension that had hollowed out their town. "Did you hear the scream last night?" he asked quietly, leaning closer. Mary nodded, her throat tight. "I just can't shake this feeling, it's like we're being watched." "Watched?" The word escaped his lips, thin and frightened. He stepped back, a shiver running down his spine. "What do you mean?" "I don't know," she stuttered. "It's just I saw someone lurking outside my house." "What? Who?" His brow furrowed deeply, revealing the concern cascading through the faculty. The talk of shadows and whispers floated beyond them, wrapping around every corner of Sudbrink. As they spoke, a chilling light flickered through the window, drawing Mary's eyes to the sky. Dark clouds rolled in, turning the day into an eerie twilight. It seemed as if the very atmosphere was charged with an unbearable tension. The school bell rang, pulling her thoughts away. The hours dragged on. Classes were mere fragments of a routine long since broken. Students whispered about strange happenings, their eyes darting to the doors as though they expected something to burst through. Lunchtime came, and the cafeteria felt like a ghost town. Mary picked at her meal, stomach twisted in knots. Clusters of frightened students huddled, sharing their own stories of objects moved overnight, pets acting strange, and the calls. People began to talk about those who were missing, the ones who hadn't answered their phones, and the names being named more frequently whispered. Her thoughts spiraled wildly. What if it was connected? What if the scream was only the beginning? She had to know more. But who would have the answers? Gathering courage, she approached the town's oldest resident, Mrs. Maple, a mysterious woman who had seen more than any contemporary. Word around town painted her as the keeper of secrets, a fountain of knowledge regarding the town's unearthed past. Standing before Mrs. Maple's porch felt like standing before a precipice, the void of fear pulling Mary closer. "I need to talk to you about what is happening," Mary finally blurted out, almost breathless. Mrs. Maple studied her, eyes piercing yet soft, like an old tree weathering the storm. "The calls they've come before, dear. Only this time, they're different. They've awakened something." "What do you mean?" Mary's heart raced. "What have they awakened?" A loud crash echoed through the air, splitting the tense moment. Mary's head whipped around just in time to see a flash of movement near the woods, a figure shrouded in darkness, darting behind a tree. "Do you hear that?" Mary's voice wavered, fear pooling in her stomach. Mrs. Maple stood still, her lips pressing into a thin line. "It is only the beginning. Something is waking, and it wants to be heard." Mary's breath caught in her throat. What had they unleashed? Just then, her phone chimed loudly, breaking the tension. It was a message, not a call. She snatched it up, eyes widening. A single line blinked on the screen: "Tonight, you'll find the truth you seek if you dare." Panic surged within her. Who sent it? And what truth awaited her? She glanced back at Mrs. Maple, but the woman had vanished, leaving only the quiet whisper of the wind behind. What was Sudbrink hiding? Mary steeled herself against the clenching fear. With the hour of reckoning drawing closer, she had to decide: would she face whatever awaited her tonight, or would she run and risk losing it all? The shadows of Sudbrink crept closer, and Mary felt the heavy weight of fate pressing down. As the sun dipped below the horizon, she could almost hear the whispers call her name. With the sun swallowed by the horizon, Mary felt time slow. The air grew thick, her pulse hammering in her ears like a drum echoing in the silence of Sudbrink. Shadows danced at the edge of her vision, flickers of movement that made her heart race. She stepped away from Mrs. Maple's empty porch, instinctively retreating toward the safety of her car. Panic bubbled within her, pressing against her chest like a vice. What truth awaited her that night? The woods loomed just beyond, dark and foreboding, whispers coiling through the trees like the tendrils of some unseen predator. Just as Mary reached her car, the phone buzzed again, startling her. Another message. She hesitated, glancing around as if expecting someone to jump out of the darkness. Summoning her courage, she opened it. "Meet me at the old quarry. Midnight. Bring the stone." A chill traced down her spine. The quarry? It was a desolate place, known for strange lore, the kind of stories that made people cross the street just to avoid speaking about them. What stone? Torn between instinct and curiosity, she found herself walking back toward the school. Perhaps there she could find someone, anyone, who might know what it all meant. Mr. Thompson was still there, grading papers in a dimly lit room. "Mary!" he called out as she slipped through the door, his face slightly relieved. "I was hoping did you know about the quarry? The calls?" His expression changed, shadows of concern flickering in his eyes. "I've heard things. Whispers, old tales. People went missing near the quarry years ago. It's not a safe place. You shouldn't go." But I have to. I got a message, she insisted, her anxiety spilling over. They want me to bring something called the stone. What does that even mean? Mr. Thompson leaned forward, his voice low and urgent. There are legends about a stone, tied to the town's first settlers. It was said to have power, and danger. Many believe it can awaken things best left alone. Mary's gut twisted. Awakening? The school bell rang again, but it felt dull and lifeless this time, a reminder of the time slipping away. She couldn't believe what she was being told. What if it's all connected? The scream, the shadows. I need to know what is going on. His eyes darkened. You're not as safe as you think. You have to be careful, Mary. Whatever is happening, it goes deeper than any of us understand. It's scratching at the surface. But digging deeper, he hesitated, swallowing hard, could lead you straight to hell. The words hung in the air like a heavy fog. Against his warning, Mary could feel her resolve hardening. She wasn't going to run. She had to confront whatever it was waiting at the quarry. Determined, she waited until the clock struck midnight, the world outside swallowed by an impenetrable darkness. The night breathed around her, thick with foreboding. As she parked near the abandoned quarry, the faint sound of water lapping against stone echoed quietly. The darkness seemed to breathe with her, a living thing, wrapping around her like tendrils of smoke. With each step toward the edge, the air crackled with tension. What is this stone? She whispered to herself, her voice lost in the void. Suddenly, a flicker of light from the depths of the quarry caught her eye, illuminating something glimmering at the bottom. Just as she leaned closer, she heard a voice, a whisper too faint to understand, but chilling enough to send shivers down her spine. It wasn't just the wind, it was something else, something ancient. This was it. The moment of truth. Her heart raced as she inched forward, drawn in by an invisible force. A soft rustle came from behind her, and Mary's breath caught. Was she truly alone? In that instant, she felt the weight of her choices press down upon her. Time hung suspended. Would she uncover the truth, or unearth something that should have remained buried? As the darkness thickened, a figure stepped into the faint light, eyes glinting like wolves in the night. Welcome, Mary. You've finally come to seek the truth. In that chilling moment, Mary knew this was just the beginning. But what awaited her? Could the truth she sought drive her into madness, or would it lead her to uncover the terrifying secrets of Sudbrink? And with that thought lingering, she realized, running was no longer an option. Mary's heart thundered in her chest as the figure before her emerged fully into view. A tall man, his features shadowed beneath the brim of a weathered hat, lifted his hand in greeting. There was an unsettling stillness in his movements, and for a moment, Mary was paralyzed with fear. She had stepped into a nightmare, one that twisted around her like smoke. Who are you? She managed to ask, her voice trembling, echoing against the stone walls of the quarry. He chuckled softly, an unsettling sound that sent icy fingers creeping down her spine. Names are unimportant. What matters is why you're here. He gestured to the deep void of the quarry, where the light flickered like a dying ember. You were drawn here by fate, weren't you? Fate. A shiver coursed through her at the thought. What do you want from me? His eyes narrowed, gleaming with an odd mix of amusement and something more sinister. You're not just here to ask questions. You've brought something with you. The stone. The mention of the stone sent a jolt of panic through her. She had no idea if this man knew what she was really holding, the small rock Mr. Thompson had given her that felt impossibly heavy in her pocket. I don't have it, Mary lied, clutching her hands tighter around the car keys hidden in her palm. I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, but you do. He took a step closer, the air growing colder around them. You feel its power, don't you? It calls to you, just like it calls to me. Her instincts screamed at her to flee. The stories of the quarry, the missing people, they all rushed back to the forefront of her mind. This was a trap, and she had walked right into it. Just then, a low rumble echoed through the quarry, sending vibrations under her feet. The ground felt alive, shifting almost as if it had a pulse of its own. Behind the man, the flickering light grew, revealing shadowy figures shifting just out of reach. Mary's breath quickened as the realization sunk in. She was not alone. She turned to run but found her legs rooted to the spot as a cacophony of whispers erupted from the shadows. The voices twisted together, speaking her name, weaving tales of loss and sorrow that clawed at her mind. Mary! Mary, come to us now! She thrust her hands to her ears, desperate to drown out the haunting tones. Get away from me! The man stepped forward again, his presence imposing. You cannot escape what lies within you. The truth is a kind of stone too, Mary, and once it's uncovered, it can consume you whole. Pain twisted in her chest, the sensation of being pulled in two directions. Fear seized her thoughts, urging retreat, while a sickening curiosity slowly unfurled, urging her to learn more. Why are you here? She demanded, forcing her voice to steady despite the chaos around her. What do you know? He smiled, sharp and predatory. Everything, my dear. And soon, you shall too. But first, you must choose. Will you accept the truth and embrace the darkness it brings? Or will you remain in your ignorance, forever haunted by what you refuse to face? The shadows loomed ever closer, their whispers growing louder. She could almost feel their cold breath on her neck. Mary's pulse pounded in her ears as she realized she had to make a choice. She could either run back to the comfort of denial or step closer to the edge of understanding. And with a deep breath, filled with both dread and determination, she took a step forward into the uncharted abyss. Show me then, she said, her voice trembling but resolute. Suddenly, the light flickered violently, and for a moment, the quarry transformed. Buildings rose around her, shadows of people, but not just any people, the missing townsfolk, their faces twisted in horror and despair. Their eyes locked onto hers, seeking something she couldn't comprehend. As darkness closed in, enveloping her like a shroud, one question echoed louder than the rest: would she be able to break the cycle, or would she, too, become just another shadow in Sudbrink? And with that thought, the whispers grew into a frenzy, a siren's call that pulled her deeper into the quarry's forgotten depths. What lay below was far more than she could have prepared for. Mary felt a surge of adrenaline hit her like a tidal wave as the visions morphed. The buildings, once vague shadows, became solid structures, each surface scarred with years of neglect. She recognized the old diner where her father used to take her for pancakes, the library where she had spent countless afternoons lost in stories, and the small park where she first learned to ride a bike. Now, they loomed ominously, tainted by darkness, whispering secrets of the past. Something moved within the depths of every shadow. Figures bent low, faces obscured, their mouths twisting in silent screams. The panic clawing at her insides morphed into a deep-seated terror. They were here, the missing. What had happened to them? The weight of their lingering spirits crashed over her like a winter storm. No, she gasped, stumbling backward. But there was no escape. She was caught in the grip of the ancient quarry, entrapped in time and memory. The man in the hat watched her, his eyes alight with an eerie glimmer that seemed to pierce through the gathering haze. You think you've come to save them, Mary? You think you're the light in this darkness? His laughter twisted harshly against the stone walls, echoing with madness. But you're much like them. Shadows that linger, needing to be freed. The whispers crescendoed into a deafening roar. Join us, desperation coursed through her veins. She had to find a way out. With a newfound bravery, she shouted, "What do you want from me?" Her voice sliced through the chaos, surprising even herself. "Your acceptance," he replied, stepping closer, his breath a chill that reached into her bones. "To learn the truth is to bear the weight. Can you carry the burden of knowing?" As if to test her resolve, the world around her shifted again. The townsfolk's faces morphed from dread into pleading, their eyes begging for release. She recognized one. It was Mrs. Albrecht, the kind old lady from across the road. Mary had visited her countless times, listened to stories of the town's past. Now, that familiar face was contorted in pain, and Mary felt a heart-wrenching tug of recognition. Without thinking, Mary stepped forward, reaching out to touch the figure. As her fingers grazed the spectral skin, a jolt of energy surged through her. Memories poured into her consciousness like rushing water. She saw how the town thrived once, the laughter of children playing, love stories blossoming over summer nights, then the slow creep of despair, the reports of disappearances, and whispers of dark rituals lurking under the town's foundations. The truth was as dark as night, suffocating in its depth. She saw the stone. It rested on an altar at the heart of the quarry, glowing with an unearthly light, surrounded by twisted roots of dead trees that seemed to cradle its form, grasping desperately for life. "Stop," she cried out, breaking free from the vision just as it threatened to consume her. "You can't keep me here." The man's gaze narrowed, the shadows pulsating in rhythm with her heartbeat. "You're already marked, Mary. You've seen too much to turn back now." His voice curled around her, thickening the air. "Will you stand against the truth, or will you embrace the darkness?" A sudden chill swept through the quarry, and the terrifying realization settled heavily on her. Each life lost was tethered to that stone, bound by the very roots of the place itself. Mary felt a tremor beneath her feet, a whisper of the ground warning her of choices yet to be made. She took another step forward. What if I can break the cycle? The question hung between them, a thin thread of hope woven tightly with fear. "Will you?" he retorted, a gleam of challenge in his eyes, the shadows around him writhing, growing restless. The whispering spirits surged closer, filling her mind with their sorrow. Mary stood on the brink, her heart racing as she contemplated the truth she had uncovered. She had to act, and fast. The moment was slipping away. As the shadows closed in, preparing to engulf her, she summoned the courage within. Could she really illuminate the darkness? Could she change what had already been written in the town's fate? The question echoed unanswered, a haunting refrain, and then, amid her growing resolve, a voice broke through the murmurs, clear and distinct. "Help us." Who had spoken? Was it a voice from the living or the dead? The quarry trembled once more as pleas and shadows collided, and everything began to spiral out of control. What secrets did that stone hold? What awaited her on the other side of truth's dark curtain? In that moment, Mary knew she was in deeper than ever before. The answers lay below, and she was the only one left to uncover them. The ground beneath Mary quaked with a ferocity that startled her. She staggered, adrenaline tightening her chest like a vice. A distant rumble resonated within the quarry as shadows thickened around her, swirling like smoke, their forms shifting and undulating in the dim light. The whispers grew louder, a cacophony of regret and sorrow, and she felt their intensity pulling her deeper into the darkness. "Help us," the voice echoed again, piercing through the chaos. It was softer now, a gentle plea intertwined with raw desperation. Who was it? Mrs. Albrecht's face flashed in her mind, frozen in agony. Mary felt a fierce determination rising within her. She couldn't turn her back on them, not now. With every ounce of willpower, she forged through the oppressive darkness. "I will help," she shouted into the swirling void, her voice trembling but resolute. The man in the hat narrowed his eyes, intrigue flickering across his features. "Help?" he sneered, his laughter echoing like shards of glass scattering through the air. "Do you think you can change their fate, Mary? The bond is unbreakable. This is just your fate as well." But she couldn't let that belief take root. The weight of history, the pain of the town's fate rested squarely on her shoulders. She could sense the yearning of the spirits, the longing for release that entwined their essences with the stone at the quarry's heart. Somehow, she needed to find a way to sever those ties. Suddenly, another figure lunged from the shadows, a boy, barely older than 10, with hollow eyes and a sorrowful expression. His eyes locked onto hers as he whispered, "They need you, Mary." She felt a connection to him, a deeper pull as if they understood each other's pain. "Find the stone," the boy flickered, almost vanishing into the shadows, but his words anchored her. What lay at the stone's heart? Why this pulsing energy? Glancing toward the altar, wrapped in roots and darkness, she knew she had to reach it, to confront whatever power lay concealed. "Your strength stems from fear," the man taunted, edging closer, the shadows encircling him like a cloak of malevolence. "You'll never survive what you find there." Mary's heart raced, but she felt no fear, only the relentless pulse of determination. "I'm not afraid of the truth," she declared. "I will face whatever horror lies beneath." Legs shaking, she took a step toward the altar, navigating through the undulating darkness. The spirits began to swirl around her, their anguished faces whispering, help us, their combined sorrow surrounded her like frost creeping into her bones. Then, she saw it, the stone. A blinding light radiated from its core, casting fractured shadows on the craggy walls. The roots tightened around the stone, pulsing with a life of their own. It seemed to vibrate in response to her presence. The voices swelled with urgency, a tide of whispers urging her closer. "What will you sacrifice for the truth?" The man's voice hissed from behind her, tearing through her resolve. Breath hitching, Mary hesitated briefly, grappling with her fears. Her pulse quickened, anxiety clawing at her heart as she considered the cost. What if discovering the truth meant losing a piece of herself? Yet, she pictured not just her life but the lives of those missing: Mrs. Albrecht, the boy, everyone tied to this abyss. "I'd do anything," she replied, her voice a sharp whisper of conviction. With each step forward, the ground pulsed beneath her, resonating with energy, her choices igniting a spark against the overwhelming darkness. The altar's glow intensified, shooting beams of light that danced along the walls, illuminating the fears hidden deep within her. Just as her fingers grazed the stone, a sudden tremor shook the quarry violently. The shadows roared to life, the whispers became screams, and the weight of the spirits coiling around her started to pull. Mary gripped the stone harder, battling the darkness that surged toward her. The light enveloped her, threatening to consume her in a blaze of truth. What would she unleash? Would the darkness retaliate, or was she finally ready to unveil the secret that had haunted her town for decades? With her heart pounding, she felt the threshold of revelation closing in. The pull toward the truth was irresistible, but she had no idea what awaited her at the center of it all. And then she saw it. A flash of horrifying clarity, the truth nestled in the shadows rolled out like a tapestry. But it wasn't just darkness lurking in the void. What stood before her would redefine everything she thought she knew. The moment hung thick in the air, and the quarry grew silent, waiting. A choice lay ahead, a choice she hadn't anticipated. Would she unveil the nightmare, or would the darkness overtake her completely? The moment her fingers brushed against the stone, an explosion of light surged around her, blinding and overwhelming. Mary felt as if she was being pulled through a tunnel of shimmering energy, the confusion of voices melding into a singular shriek that echoed in her mind. It was a deafening chorus, opinions conflicting, histories colliding, all of it crashing over her like a tidal wave. Images began to flash before her eyes, vivid and heart-wrenching. She saw the quarry in its early days, bustling with life, laughter, and families gathered to witness the beauty of the stone. But then, shadows crept in, their elongated figures tilting the stories she thought she knew. Mary gasped as faces morphed into grotesque masks of agony and despair. "No!" she screamed, but her voice was lost in the storm of memories. The ghastly parade continued, revealing scenes of betrayal, anger, and betrayal. A boy trampled underfoot, a parent howling in sorrow, a community torn apart over a decision made in silence. A truth she never understood. Why had they suffered? What were they clamoring for? As the frantic images faded, a single silhouette emerged from the chaos: a woman. Mrs. Albrecht. The sight pierced Mary's heart. The woman had once been strong, a pillar for the town, and now her form seemed shadowed and broken. A cold sweat trickled down Mary's back. Was this the final embodiment of the truth? The man in the hat laughed, mocking and cruel. What a delightful revelation, Mary. You see their pain, but it's tied intimately to you. You're one of them now. No. Mary shouted, desperately trying to shake off the weight of those words. This can't be my fate. Just then, a blinding flash erupted from the stone. It illuminated the entire quarry, revealing a hidden chamber beyond the altar. The walls pulsed with energy, drawing her in, beckoning her, step into the light. Unleash us. Goosebumps erupted on her skin, the power was intoxicating yet terrifying. She fought against it, the darkness trying to latch onto her feet, to pull her back. But the truth. The urge to understand became a driving force she couldn't ignore. She needed to know why they suffered. As she teetered on the edge of the chamber's threshold, visions flooded her mind. The townsfolk, the sacrifices made in the name of progress. Their dreams and hopes had been buried beneath the quarry, stone encasing the very essence of who they were. Are you willing to lose it all to bring peace? The boy's voice echoed in her ears again, soft yet resolute. The man sneered, you want to help them? You'll have to sacrifice more than you can imagine. Suddenly, the ground quaked again, this time with urgency, danger vibrating through her very bones. The shadows writhed like angry serpents, and screams filled the air, a cacophony of desperation spiraling out of control. Mary. You have to choose. Heart racing, she weighed the voices swirling around her against her instincts. Could she betray her own life for these spirits, these lost souls? Choose. She echoed, feeling the stone's pulse sync with her heartbeat. The ground trembled violently, and the chamber's energy surged, forcing her decision to the forefront of her mind. Was she ready to risk it all? To plunge into depths she might never return from? The shadows threatened to consume her as Mary felt time still, every heartbeat tremulous with the weight of her choice. Would she dare to unravel the truth buried in this quarry, or would she succumb to the darkness that promised safety? With a deep breath, she stepped forward into the light. But what awaited her was a sight that would forever alter not just her destiny but the entire fabric of her town. The revelation was not only about the spirits. It was about her more deeply than she could have ever envisioned. And in that moment, everything shattered around her. What lay in the void before her was not just history revealed, but a future irrevocably altered. Pain pulsed through her chest as she gasped, realizing she had tapped into something far bigger than herself, a nightmare that could ripple through time. Would the truth empower her, or would it doom everything she loved? The light enveloped her completely, the overwhelming brightness wrapping around Mary like a warm blanket, yet she felt a chill creeping down her spine. Instead of the anticipated clarity, visions multiplied and morphed, a kaleidoscope of distorted truths, and jaws dropped in horror. She was no longer just a witness. The energy of the chamber surged through her, making her feel as if she were caught in a hurricane of emotions and memories. Faces flashed before her like a relentless slideshow, children laughing, old men haggling, mothers soothing their babies, and then the darkness. It rushed in like a swift tide, washing over each scene, diluting them into chaos. Stop! She cried, her voice strained and cracking. Tell me who I really am. But the stone pulsed violently, drowning her out. It bled vibrant colors across the walls, swirling with darkness that clawed at her. Mary clutched her head, scrunching her eyes tight as she fought to reclaim control of her thoughts. I am not theirs. She shouted into the void. I want to carry their burdens. Yet, the truth gnawed at her insides, a truth wrapped in ghostly whispers and angry pleas. You are their legacy, a voice echoed, haunting and familiar. You are the end and the beginning. Cursing under breath, Mary opened her eyes, and the chaos warped into something clearer yet equally frightening. She stood at a crossroad. On one side lay her life, the mundane routine of her days, the warmth of smiling faces, safety wrapped in normalcy. On the other? A shadowy path of grim faces, lost dreams, and fractured hope. Choosing will shatter your peaceful life, Mary, the man in the hat taunted, his grin widening under an expanding shadow. Are you ready for the storm that follows? Shut up. She shouted, the desperation in her voice erupting into a painful wail. It was a choice she should never have had to make. The anguish of her town pressed heavy on her chest, suffocating her with every beat of her heart. As she stared at the flickering light ahead, memories twisted like jagged shards of glass, revealing things she never dreamed existed. Echoes of past lives collided with her own stories of sacrifice and sorrow, turning reality into a tapestry of pain. Mary staggered backward, lost. Please, I just wanted to know. Her tears flowed freely now, her fragile heart laid bare to the energy surrounding her. Then, louder than the chaos echoing through the chamber, one clear thought emerged: if she could understand their pain, maybe she could wield that knowledge to alter the course. Relief swept over her like a sudden spring rain, but it was short-lived. A wicked laugh pierced the quiet that followed. It's too late now, the man warned, his voice dripping with malice. You've stepped into the current. Before she could react, the ground buckled beneath her feet. Mary felt herself falling, plummeting into darkness, the sheer weight of the world pressing against her. She screamed, the sound ripped from her throat, as she was swallowed by the unknown. Time distorted, it felt like seconds and centuries merged into one breathless moment. The darkness threatened to crush her. But just as the shadows closed in around her, a sliver of light appeared in the distance, a shimmering thread of hope. Mary! It was a chorus of voices, softer now, pleading, urging her toward the beacon. Find us, set us free. As she reached for the light, a flicker of realization filled her. What lay beneath the surface was not just sorrow. There was also strength. The choices made had bonded the town beyond suffering. There was community and resilience, caught between light and shadow. Mary's heart raced with newfound determination. She must take that leap, embracing the risks to unveil the truth. Would she be ready to face the darkness and unite the town's fractured past? With one final push, the light enveloped her once again. What lay waiting on the other side remained a mystery, but she would uncover it if it cost her everything. And as she broke through, one thought echoed in her mind, loud and unyielding: would she be prepared to confront the reality that bound her fate to the very souls she sought to rescue? The blinding light shattered into a kaleidoscope of hues as Mary emerged, gasping for breath. She found herself standing on solid ground, but it felt otherworldly. The air buzzed with an unseen energy, whispering secrets just beyond her grasp. Shadows lingered at the edges, and the faces from her past drifted in the periphery like clouds threatening a storm. Her heart raced. The warmth she'd felt before was gone, replaced by a cold, creeping dread. Where am I? She whispered, the words almost lost to the thick silence. She turned, searching for something, someone. Then she heard them, the whispers. They swirled around her, the words jumbled but familiar. Find us, remember. The voices beckoned, their urgency urgent and raw. Suddenly, a figure materialized from the gloom: the man in the hat. He towered over her, casting a long shadow that stretched toward the pulsing light behind her. His grin was wide, teeth glinting like shards of glass. Welcome, Mary. This is where the past and future collide. His voice had the power to penetrate right into her marrow, bringing an icy wave of realization crashing over her. Why? What do you want from me? She demanded, raising her chin defiant despite her trembling hands. The truth lies in your connections, in the narratives that have shaped you. You must confront what you've left behind to seize what's ahead. The ground rumbled beneath her feet, mirroring the chaos in her mind. Memories surged like a tide, threatening to sweep her away again. I don't understand. She cried, clenching her jaw against the flood. I just want to help. I want to set them free. Help? And what about your own chains, Mary? He shot back, voice like thunder. You're tied to this legacy as tightly as they are. To save them, you must first confront your own fears, face the choices that brought you here. With those chilling words, the room erupted in light and shadow, a dizzying dance that nearly overwhelmed her senses. The ground beneath her feet began to shift again, this time forming into images, faces from her childhood, moments of joy twisted into pain. "I'm not like them," she shouted, defiance etched into her features. "I don't carry their burdens." Her rebellion rang hollow, doubt creeping in. The man only laughed, the sound echoing ominously. "But you do, whether you choose to acknowledge it or not. Every tear, every heartbreaking choice left behind is sewn into your soul." Then the vision sharpened. Her friend Sally, tangled in grief over a lost brother, eyes vacant and pleading, old Mr. Jenkins, his shop shuttered, dreams of a brighter future extinguished. Each face carved through her chest like a dagger. Mary's breath quickened. "They need me," she whispered, realization dawning as the images morphed into a single path, the one she'd seen before, the shadowy road leading into uncertainty. "Then step forward," the man said with an icy calm. "Embrace the truth. Do you dare venture deeper, Mary? Show me," she cried, her voice laced with desperation. She felt the ground shifting beneath her, a pull toward the unknown that both scared and exhilarated her. And before she could second-guess herself, she stepped forward, ready to unearth whatever dark truths awaited her. But as she crossed the threshold, the man's laughter echoed in her ears, chilling and triumphant. "Remember, Mary, some truths are better left buried." The ground jolted again, and Mary felt herself slip into the light, heart racing, mind whirling. What awaited her in this strange, bright realm? As the brightness enveloped her, one thought blazed like a flame in her chest: would she uncover the truth, or would it ignite a fire that consumed everything she loved? Mary's surroundings shifted into focus, and she found herself in a vast hall that felt both familiar and foreign. The walls were plastered with images of Sudbrink's history, the festivals, the laughter, even the darkness that clung like a shadow. Each snapshot told a story, but they felt incomplete, like pieces of a puzzle scattered carelessly. She stepped forward cautiously, her heart racing as she recognized familiar faces within the images, each one carrying the weight of their unspoken struggles. They seemed trapped in time, a snapshot of their joy and sorrow. An overwhelming sensation surged through her, a current of emotion that filled the air like a suffocating fog. Mary felt as if she was walking through a cemetery of memories, each step heavy with the burdens they concealed. "Why? Why are you showing me this?" she cried, frustration bubbling to the surface. "What do you want from me?" The man in the hat emerged from the shadows, his presence commanding. He surveyed her with an expression that straddled amusement and pity. "To see is to know, Mary. And to know is to choose. You are at the crossroads of past and future. These stories, they are part of you." Suddenly, the images morphed, swirling vigorously as if they were alive. Mary gasped as they converged into a single, haunting scene. She saw herself, a younger version, standing with her parents in the town square, excitement brimming as they prepared for a festival that lit up the night sky. But behind that joy lurked a shadow. The whispers told of a choice made long ago, one that had left deep scars on her family and the town. "Look closer," the man urged, his voice wrapping around her like smoke. Trembling, Mary leaned in. There they were, the faces of the missing, flickering like broken light bulbs, their eyes pleading for release. She recognized Mrs. Albrecht's warm smile etched in sadness, a reminder of all they had lost. The boy from the shadows stood amongst them, framed by fading light, whispering, "Find us, set us free, please." Mary's heart cracked open as she felt their sorrow wash over her, a surge of regret flooding her veins. "What can I do? How do I help you?" The weight of their collective pain clung to her like a shroud. "Embrace it," the man replied, his tone shifting, becoming almost gentle. "The truth lies within you. Every joy, every heartache carries the power to change your fate and theirs." The images around her shifted again, revealing the truth beneath the town's veneer, a grim tapestry of secrets woven through history. Her ancestors had held the stone, maintaining balance until a fateful decision shattered that harmony. It all connected: the shadows, the calls, the vanishing lives. Mary could no longer deny the whispers that echoed in her mind. "You need to choose now, Mary," the man pressed, his dark eyes fixed on her. "Will you confront your past, face your fear, and become the bridge to healing this town? Or will you walk away, leaving them to languish in shadows?" With each second that ticked by, the weight of her choice pressed down on her. A vision of a future flashed before her eyes, one where the community of Sudbrink came together, united, finding strength in their shared stories. But it required her to embrace the truth fully, to carry the burdens they had left behind. "I will help them," Mary declared fiercely, determination igniting within her. "No more hiding. They deserve peace. I'll do it." A beam of light shot through the hall, illuminating her with warmth and energy, washing away the shadows. The man's laughter echoed around her, a mixture of delight and challenge. "Are you ready to bear the weight of truth, Mary? It will change all that you know." "Yes." "Show me," she called, heart pounding with both fear and fierce hope. The ground trembled beneath her, shifting into a vast expanse. The quarry itself appeared, shadows swirling like restless spirits, intermingling with the deep hum of forgotten memories. "Now, together, we shall unearth what has been buried," he intoned, the shadows coiling and releasing, reverberating like a symphony of yearning. As Mary stepped forward, she felt the spirits coalesce around her, their whispers mingling with her breath. "Help us!" they cried, hope igniting in her spirit. With tremendous resolve, she reached toward the stone at the heart of the quarry. The moment her fingers grazed its surface, light exploded around her, filling every dark corner of the whispering shadows, illuminating faces that had long been trapped in despair. The spirits swirled around Mary, their earnest hopes lifting her, urging her to channel their energy, to drain the pain that had captivated Sudbrink for too long. She focused on their sorrows, letting the memories pulse through her, acknowledging everything they had endured and releasing each burden into the light. "I remember," she whispered over and over, the words empowering her. "You are not forgotten. I will help you find peace." With that commitment, a wave of energy surged through her, raw, electric, and bright. The pictures of the missing flickered to life, transformed from shadows into radiant forms. With each spirit liberated, the pain tied to the stone rippled outward, the weight of their burdens lifting from her shoulders. "Thank you," they cried, their voices harmonizing into a song of relief as the tension in the air dissolved, releasing Sudbrink from its grip. As their light shimmered into brilliance, Mary knew the darkest secrets had found their liberation. The whispers faded, leaving only a warm, soothing calm that enveloped her like a soothing embrace, and as she opened her eyes, she found herself back on hallowed ground, the quarry silent, free from despair. Sudbrink had awakened. With the dawn breaking, Mary stood, eyes shining and heart surrounded by gratitude. The shadows had lifted, and she felt the weight of generations finally set free. Her journey had rewritten the town's story. Together, they would heal. Sudbrink was ready for a new beginning. So now, what do you think about the ending? Was it what you expected? Did Mary's choice resonate with you? You need to subscribe now and join the community to stay tuned for more exclusive stories. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm and help spread the word. Let's hear your reactions and theories in the comments. You might have insights that we all need to see. And don't wait even one more second. Share this video with at least 5 friends who need to witness this powerful conclusion. Your support means everything. Let's keep the conversation going.